So my name is Jim Spratling. I went to Elsie High School. I graduated there in 1998. And I am currently the Director of Guidance, which is a fancy term for head counselor at Ponderosa High School in Shingle Springs. It was actually a pretty easy process. Especially because I work in education, you think a lot of the educators that influenced you growing up. And when the opportunity came about to nominate him, and I really started to think of everyone that influenced me, through K through 12, through college and everything, he was the one that stood out, that having the largest impact and just influencing me to kind of want to give the same back to the students I work with that he gave to me. Honestly, just a general care for what I was doing. And it was nothing more than that. It was just someone actually caring, other than my parents, obviously, about kind of what I was doing with myself and with my future goals. And he was always just so encouraging, because he was my freshman science teacher. And to keep that connection through high school was really important, because he was always supportive in my choices. And then afterwards, when I went off to college and I would come home to visit, and I'd make sure to bump into him every once in a while. He was always just encouraging, and he just cared about what I was doing. The fact that we had that connection, and I felt okay opening up to him about my struggles in schooling and not really sure what I was doing. He was always just reassuring me that just keep going, it's gonna work out. And I'm happy to say it has. That's funny. One assignment I can remember for some reason was carbon plating. Copper plating. I couldn't even tell you what we were doing, but it involved a battery and a solution and a paper clip. But one thing I remember him was in the freshman science class, there was some ad on TV that had ants dancing. It was a real cheesy commercial. And for whatever lesson plan was that day, because the commercial was really popular with the high school students at the time, he made his lesson go to the theme of that song. So it was real fun for us to see a teacher kind of going outside of the box, trying to relate to us, try to make the schooling fun. And I just remember the whole class busting up laughing and really enjoying the lesson, because he tried to make it relative to what we were seeing on TV at the time. Saying so I can't think of one? I think the answer is no. Not like he did. And I had him as an advisory teacher or a homeroom teacher years down the road when the school decided to go to an advisory type model. And I think that connection helped as well, because at that point he wasn't a science teacher anymore. He was like my homeroom teacher, and it was someone to check in with. And I can remember, this is kind of selfish, but the high school did a canned food drive, and me and my buddy Adam we had this strategy to collect canned foods, and we were able to collect, for I think 3 years in a row, we collected more cans, just him and I, than the whole school combined. And Brian was always big behind us. Let's do it, bring the cans in here. I even remember at one point he thought the Press Democrat, the local newspaper, should have been aware of what we were doing, because we were collecting thousands of cans because we had this system. And of course, at that time I wasn't doing it for the glory. We were just collecting cans because it was a goal to beat the whole school and to benefit the community. But the fact that he cared enough to think that more people should have known, it was like, oh, like this person actually cares and wants us to be recognized for what we're doing. So it was great. I hear it all. You have some students that aren't going to like their teachers. That's just how it goes. But yeah, there's a lot of teachers that really make the connections with the students. And there's nothing better than obviously seeing the alumni and you see what they're doing. We seem to hear it a lot from the nursing students that come back and they say how much they enjoyed their science classes, or how everything was relative to what they were actually going to do in high school. So yeah. And the day-to-day on school, it's a lot if the teachers and the kids get along and if they feel like they're actually, learning anything. But yeah, it happens. I didn't like high school. I knew, honestly, I had to get my diploma, and I knew I was going to attend the community college, so there wasn't much of a drive. There was my math teacher in high school, Mr. LaFrance. He was great. But at the time I was cycling a lot, and he was also a cyclist, so we had that connection. And that's funny that I mentioned that, because I know Brian was also a big cyclist. So over the years we kind of found commonalities, and I think that kind of helped. And I think him sharing what he did outside of school helped find the commonalities, and that's when I think the connection piece is so important. If teachers don't open up about their lives kind of outside of the 8 to 3, the kids don't know who they are. So that connection of that kind of having a commonality has just helped our friendship grow over the years.